Shalom Yasharala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and every well. And salutation, much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick, only touching on just a little bit of this here article real fast. It kind of made me laugh a little bit. But nevertheless, hey, these are the things that Esau will put out, with this here narrative of, this is how Jake, they'll use, one Jake here or there, they're like, oh, this is how Jake is feeling or how Jake should be feeling. All right. But nevertheless, let's read this here article. It says, as a black man, I don't want white people to feel guilty, ashamed, or embarrassed just for being white. All right. And so we're going to just go ahead and stop it there. It's not because they're white. All right. We don't have nothing against people because they're white. All right. It's because they're Edomites. All right. You have some Israelites and even Israelites of the elect that have that same white skin. All right. But nevertheless, and also in reverse, you have some Edomites, all right, that have skin that look just like this man in this here picture, man. All right. So it's not because of, their skin color is white. It has nothing to do with that. All right. It's because of who they are. All right. They're the Edomites. All right. You have to understand the history about the Edomites. All right. These are Jacob and Esau were twin brothers. All right. But Esau hated Jacob. All right. And this is what, this is the definition of what this is how you go into real racism. Like when you ask the question, like, well, what is racism? When they go into certain things like that. Now, they do have, other definitions, but you can't really say it's because of the color of their skin. All right. Because Esau don't treat the Africans. He treat the Africans horrible. He don't treat the Africans like he treat us. These Africans, they'll come over here to America. They'll give them visas. They'll give them not loans, grants. They don't have to pay taxes for multiple years to set up businesses over here, quote unquote foreigners. All right. But then at the same time, Jake been living over here since we've been brought over here, but they won't, they barely wanted to give us anything, man. All right. And, so it's not because of, quote unquote, the skin color. All right. It's because they know who we are. All right. Just like some of the Northern Kingdom has just brown skin as some of those Elamites, over in India and things like that. It ain't because their skin color is that color. No, they don't treat them East Indians like that. All right. So let's jump to this here article. It says Britain is a divert, and then they got a lot of crazy ass words in here they shouldn't even have. But nevertheless, it says Britain is a diverse country with a complex and racially charged past. We could just start there. Well, who created this history? Who created this past? And what were you doing? You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, a habitual offender and committing crimes and robbery sprees and killing and murdering and raping and shit like that, then get caught and then be like, oh man, the court system is rigged, it's against me. Like, no, nigga, we basing this off of your history, your past crimes and the things you was doing. All right, so this is what got you caught up right now, man, because of your own actions. Nobody told you to go out here and do all these things. Well, the Most High did, but hey, nevertheless, it says there is still progress to be made, but caricaturing all white people as soulless, irredeemable racists isn't just wrong, it's actively making things worse. Well, the scriptures say that they're irredeemable. All right, well, Lord's will be able to grab that. All right, and it's not making things worse. Like, what do you mean? All right, they the one started this here situation. Like, all right, so why didn't you tell these so-called white people that on 9/11? Because somebody came over here and committed an atrocity, quote unquote, came over here and committed an atrocity on you and started killing your people. Does it make it any better or make it worse for you to go over there and start blowing up their countries for 20 years on end? All right, because we still over there right now, or America's still over there right now, right? Well, how come y'all ain't keep that same energy then? All right, y'all said, oh, that was in the past and this and that. Well, wait a minute, well, what happened in 2001 was in the past. Why can't y'all let that shit go? All right, so it says, dear white people, I feel your pain. All right, and here go that Uncle Tom ass spirit, right, and how they try to set these things up. As someone who comes from an oppressed minority, first of all, we're not in a minority. We're the majority. We're the majority of the whole planet. All right, the scriptures say we're the sand of the sea. All right, we're scattered in the four corners of the earth. All right, Esau has always been the minority on this here landmass. Like, even when it comes to just Judah alone, Judah outnumber Esau in this here land. Like, you can go back to slave days and that'll prove it to you. Like, look at the slave plantations and how many slaves the damn slave owners had comparably to how many people was living in the damn house. All right. But nevertheless, it says, all right, it says, as someone who has also come from an oppressed minority, I can't help but empathize with your suffering. They ain't suffering. These niggas is not, because people are talking shit about them. They suffering. Ain't nobody putting their hands on these Edomites. You ain't got a bunch of Jakes grabbing up guns and just killing unarmed Edomites walking around just because they Edomites. All right, you don't got that happening. You don't got a bunch of Jakes riding through their neighborhoods, patrolling their neighborhoods. What you doing, boy? Where your papers at, boy? Why you loitering over here, boy? You ain't got Jake over here pushing drugs off into their neighborhoods and committing all these violent crimes in their neighborhoods and stuff like that. We ain't doing that to them, man. They still actively to this same day doing this to us. All right. It says, I can't help but empathize with your suffering, given the constant barrage of criticism. Wait, if you wouldn't be doing what you doing, like, yo, you mad because people over time are saying, man, this motherfucker was drunk, crashed up into all the cars up the block, tore up everybody's shit and everything like that. But stop criticizing me. I'm not criticizing you. I'm telling you what the hell you was doing, man. I wouldn't be having this conversation if you wasn't out there doing what you was doing, man. How about you clean your act up and we'll stop talking about you, man? All right? It says, ridicule, discrimination. Like, white people ain't being barred from nothing. They own everything. How the hell they being barred from anything? Would Jay Gunn stop them from coming into the black barbershops? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. It says, and animosity you face every day. What animosity? They all, you know, what we doing and what you know, a lot of these people are doing now is just holding a mirror up to their face. Like the scripture say, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? That shook the kingdoms, roughly paraphrasing. Like, all it is a mirror put up to your face. It's like, we didn't go over here and bomb the whole planet Earth and just put this on you and be like, oh, blaming it on you. You did this shit because of you. You did. Nah. No, nigga. You the one that's got the bombs. You got the world. Like, yo, you in control of the military, bro. You the one that's over here blowing up other people's countries and doing all kind of crazy things. It's your police officers under your jurisdiction working for your federal government, all right, with the federally provided weapons and everything like that, and the court systems to back them up, just going out here killing Jakes. And you mad because Jake is calling them out and quote-unquote criticizing them for what they doing to them? Come on, man. All right? It says discrimination, animosity to your face every day from being labeled white supremacists, which they are. They do believe. They came over here and said that we was 3/5 of men. They wrote that down. We didn't come up with that. They wrote that down, all right, saying that they were superior to us because, or we were inferior to them because we got black skin and all kind of, they had a whole science to this thing. You got quote unquote Darwinism. All right. What was the other stuff where they were breeding out the less, they had a word for it, where they was basically trying to breed out Jake or get rid of Jake and just make it a Edomite world, more or less to say. That was them that did that. All right. It says having your every achievement dismissed as consequences of white privilege. Well, if they didn't have Jake enslaved, America wouldn't be where it's at. I would love for anybody to prove that. All right, because we could just run down some of the facts real quick. They was working us in slavery. That's slavery is, you ain't getting paid for slavery. That's what makes slavery different from you going to a damn job. All right, well, technically that's still slavery, but by today's terminology, there's a difference with that. All right. What they was doing to us is just terrorism and torture, all right? Because that's completely different, all right? Then, you go into a job, yeah, you serving somebody else. That, yeah, by real definitions, that's the same shit. But what they did to us was overkill, man, all right? Hey, so who built the White House that they sending all these commands out for? It was slave labor. Like I said, they wasn't paying the slaves for the work that they was doing on plantations and things like that. So they was getting up all this tobacco, cotton, and all these other things they was getting. They was selling that, all right, to make a profit, all right, but they wasn't paying their quote-unquote employees or the slaves that was working for them. So what do you mean every achievement is dismissed as a consequence of white privilege? Like, nigga, y'all in control of every damn thing, man, all right? It says, I know what it feels like to be shunned, slandered, and defamed simply because of the color of my skin. It ain't because of the color of Esau's skin. It ain't about them having the white. It's not because they had white skin that we blaming them for bombing up all the damn Middle East. It's not because they had white skin that we like, yo, y'all done fucked up the whole Middle East. No, it's because they actually flew over there with bombs and blew up the whole Middle East. You know what I'm saying? They could have been they could have been the so-called Chinese man doing that. Like, it's still wickedness. It ain't because he had white skin that it happened. It ain't because he had white skin, all right, that we over here mad because we was enslaved under them. No, nigga, y'all took us into captivity. All right, and y'all still tainting our water supply, our food supply. We ain't got GMOs out here because this nigga got white skin on his body. That ain't the case. All right. You know what I'm saying? We ain't over here tripping over fluoride in the water and people getting all kind of injections and inoculations. People ain't losing their jobs or losing their businesses and losing their homes and everything like this because this guy's wearing white skin. It's not because he's got white skin. It has nothing to do with that. It's the spirit that's inside this damn devil. He an Edomite. This is what the Edomites do. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. This is what the fuck he was going to do. Take peace from the earth, to kill with the sword, man. This is what he was created to do. The wicked was created to be wicked, all right? It's not because he got white skin. This is just the role he was playing, man. All right, like I said, white skin wasn't the reason the whole Middle East was blown up. It was because the Edomites decided to go over there and drop physical bombs over there on them people, man. All right? It says, I can't change the inequalities of the past, but I can stand shoulder to shoulder with my white brothers and sisters to build a better Britain for the future. Wait, how you gonna stand shoulder to shoulder with him? This nigga don't want you standing shoulder to shoulder to him. He wants your ass up under him. You gotta understand what they call like when they say a threat to national security. All right, national security is not protecting their damn borders from no invasion. National security is to maintain them being up on top. Like the scripture says, he gathers unto him all people. Not to stand shoulder to shoulder. He ain't standing shoulder to shoulder with the Chinese man, the African man, the Arab man. He ain't standing shoulder to shoulder with them. He's standing over top of these niggas, man. All right? So you over here trying to be, if you gonna stand shoulder to shoulder to these Edomites, that means either they gotta come down to your level or they gotta pull you up to their level and share all their wealth and everything with you, man. They ain't finna do that. All right? So it says, to paraphrase Jimmy Rabbit in the Commitments, white people have become the blacks of Europe, but enough is enough. Now it's time to, okay, let's get serious. So, hey, he says the whites have become the blacks of Europe. Well, wait, what does that term mean, the blacks of Europe? Meaning the so-called niggas, the slaves, the bottom barrel of the bear. Why is that even a narrative like that, man? You know, we used to rule Europe, right? You know what I'm saying? All that shit, all those buildings over there that y'all living in, them big-ass, what they call that big-ass, like, not, you know, we got the Congress building. They got this other building over there like that. I can't think of the name of it, but we built all of that shit, man. King James, who translated the Bible, was a black man. We was ruling over it at that point in time, man. All right, you can go back and look at the book called Nature Knows No Color Lines, man. We was ruling all of Europe over there, man. All right. It says, I really do feel for white people, just as black people have endured centuries of being characterized as homogenous, whole lacking individuals, identity, or dare I say, a soul by everyone from politicians to plutocrats to plebes on the streets, with bourgeois elites, the prime beneficiaries of racist reductionism. All right. Now, what do all these people have in common? The politicians, the plutocrats, and all these people. What do all these motherfuckers got in common? They all Edomites, or they Jakes that's working for these Edomites, man. The Edomite, this is the Edomite structure, man. All right, so the Edomites was treating us bad. I know what it's like to feel like this, being treated by the Edomites. So that's just wrong. No, it wasn't just it was a wicked group of people, but this wicked group of people are the Edomites. That's what they failing to understand. All right, they all Edomites. All right. It says, where was I at? Increasingly, white people have been caricatured as ovine, soulless, and universally racist by extremists, woketards who are either hell-bent on payback or simply incapable of reading the room when it comes to reconciliation or reconciling Britain's racially charged colonial past with its work in progress, but nevertheless more progressive present. Like, what the hell is different, man? They still with colonialism. Why the hell are they over in the Middle East? Why you got all them damn bases over there? Why is NATO expanding all over the whole damn globe? Well, ultimately, it was prophesied in the scripture. You know, that was part of Esau's blessing. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So that's, you know, the real definition of colonialism and all that shit that they was talking about, man. Because the earth was given into their hands. So that's why they took over every damn thing. But nevertheless, you know, talk about them being soulless and every damn thing. We can go back to the story of Jacob and Esau, where Esau sold his own birthright for one morsel of meat, man. All right, that same red meat. That's why his name was changed from Esau to Edom. All right, and he didn't give a fuck about none of that. He didn't care about none of that. But then he wanted to come back on around. Then his brother came and tried to give him gifts and everything and try to reconcile with him. But then Esau was still, fuck that nigga, man. I'm gonna kill this nigga, man. He said that when his father Isaac was on his deathbed, and he still got that same energy to the same day, man. When was he gonna let go? It ain't that we hate them. They the ones hate us. You don't read in the scripture about Jacob hatred for Esau. No, you hear about Esau's hatred for Jacob. All right, well, you hear about the Most High say he hate the Edomites, but you don't hear about where it say Jacob, the Israelites hated Esau. No, the Edomites hated Jacob. All right. It says, I think that was all I wanted to read in here. This is a really long article. But, yeah, that was all I was going to read in this here article here. But nevertheless, because just reading that much of the damn article gives you enough to just, how I say, build a whole lesson off of that. I just quoted some. Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and grab this real quick. Genesis 25:25 actually says, is it 25? Well, let me start 23. Genesis 25:23. And Yahweh said unto her, now this is talking to Rebekah, right? Rebekah is Isaac's wife, all right, which is the parents of Jacob and Esau. And this is going into their birth, right? And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So, well, we'll skip through all that. The first came out red all over. So it says the elder shall serve the younger. So it was already written that Esau was going to serve Jacob ultimately, and that's, coming up real soon. But we was also going to have to serve him, right? And we was prophesied to be stronger than him mentally, physically, spiritually. We stronger than Esau, physically and everything else like that, all right? And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. All right, so technically, yeah, we are brothers. You know what I'm saying? We actually twin brothers. Just I forgot how they call it, either fraternal or whatever, twins. I got two twin cousins like this, two twin girl cousins. One of them really light skinned, one of them really dark skinned. They was born on the same day from the same mother and the same father, right? But nevertheless, in this case, one was born quote unquote albino, as they say it today. All right. So I wanted to grab the point that they was twins, right? So they was actually brothers, right? Now Esau sold his birthright for this one more Slamite. For time's sake, I'm gonna just roughly paraphrase it, going into them being soulless and shit. But let's go down to Genesis 27 and verse 41. Genesis 27 and 41. Now this is on Isaac's deathbed. This is how long ago this started. All right, this is when it started. This when Isaac was still alive. This is going back to the book of Genesis. All right. It says, and Esau hated Jacob. Let me read that again. And Esau hated Jacob. So going into this here with his racism and everything, why the so-called white man and black man can't get along? This is why, right? It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. So wait a minute. It was already prophesied that the elder was going to serve the younger. So Esau was going to have when you go further into it, Esau was going to have, they was both going to have dominion over the whole earth, right? But Esau's was going to be temporary. Jacob's was going to be forever. All right, we was going to be in captivity unto him first, but he was going to ultimately serve us, right? It was already prophesied from before, when they was still in their mother's womb. It was already written, right? It was nothing that they could do about it, right? So it says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, remember, Esau sold his own birthright, because, hey, it was already written for him. And Esau said in his heart, in his mind, right? The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So he hated Jacob already. His father was on his deathbed, and he said after his dad passed away, he was going to go kill his brother. And these words of Esau, her elder son, was told to Rebekah. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, does comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So the only thing that's going to make Esau feel better is if he wound up exterminating you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, every last one of you. You can go back into the history about what they call the Taino Indians, where he brought them down to a population of 500, right? Now, the Taino Indians today would basically be classified as quote-unquote Puerto Ricans, right? But Ephraim was a fruitful bow, so they just multiplied back up, all right? But, hey, if he had it his way, he would exterminate you fully, all right? This is where this stems from. It's not because he has white skin, all right? He just came out albino. We technically, we twin brothers. We got the same mother, the same father. Some people will say, oh, it's because, y'all white or y'all black, why y'all don't like these folks? I'm like, well, technically, us, like Judah, right, basically got almost the same skin color as these Africans, right, the Hamites, right? And people will say, oh, well, we African, y'all African. Like, no, we not African. We nowhere near y'all. You know what I'm saying? We got closer DNA, all right, to the so-called Asian man, Chinese, and the Japanese man, all right? They was children of Lot, all right? They were Shemites, right? The Arab man, they came up out of Abraham, all right, because Abraham had, he had more than 2 sons, but his firstborn was Ishmael, which are the Arabs, right? His second son was Isaac, where the blessing went down to. So we was brothers there as well too. Those are also our brothers. Well, they like our cousins, but you know what I'm saying? They was pretty much like brothers to Isaac, you know? Jacob and Esau's parents, right? That would have been like Uncle Ishmael, basically, you know? But so we way closely related to them, and DNA, if you was to do a DNA test, our DNA would come back closer. You know, the so-called black man, Latino man, and Native American man, their DNA will come back closer to the Arab man, the Chinese man, the Japanese man, and the so-called white man. All right, our DNAs are so much more closer together than the so-called black man and the so-called African, because we're all Shemites, all right, and they're Hamites. All right, they're different, all right? But nevertheless, hey, we was brothers, but Esau decided he wanted to kill us, right? This is Daniel chapter 9 and verse 12. He hath confirmed his word, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us by bringing upon us a great evil, which was the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 on down. Part of those curses that he was going to bring a nation from afar, all right, a fierce nation that wasn't going to regard the young or the old, which would have been the Edomites at this point in time. You've seen all the atrocities he's done unto us, right? And everybody, you know, these small hats went over and talking about how, you know, everybody paying them reparations for the quote-unquote horrific things that didn't happen to them, let's just say over 6 years. But what about the 400 years that we was over here in captivity, all right? And not just talking about that. We talking about we can go back as far. I'm just using that small little time frame that we was over here in captivity up under him. But we can go all the way back, like I said, from the book of Genesis when Esau was trying to kill us, man. All right, Amalek was the first ones to put his hands up on us, man. All right, but nevertheless, you know, this just go way back all the way up until now, man. Esau's always been upon our ass, man. All right, it says, by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done unto Jerusalem. So out of all the nations, you know, like people like say, oh, all the nations went into captivity, all the nations been in subjection to somebody. Yeah, but not all nations have been done like how we've been done, man. The worst atrocities in the whole earth has only been done to the Israelites, as it says here. All right, it says, for under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done unto Jerusalem. All right, the children of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, everybody else know their heritage. The Chinese man still know about the Moabites, so they know they Moab. The Ishmael still know or the Arabs still know that they Ishmael and everything else like that. But we didn't even know who the hell we are, man. We call ourselves Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, Esau then came over here and took our whole damn land, all right, and tried to bar us from our own land, putting up walls saying you can't come to our own spot. Y'all can go home, go back to where y'all came from. Like, nigga, this is our land. We was over here before your red ass came over here and took, you know, the Northern Kingdom. All right, and then they tell us to go back to where we was from. Like, nigga, y'all scattered us in 70 AD, ran us into Africa, and we done went through 2 different slave trades. And then you robbed us of our heritage to make Israel be no more remembrance. We wouldn't even know where the fuck to go back to if you told us to go back home, man. All right. What was that other precept? I wanted to grab something before I grabbed Lord will, it'll come back on around. Let me go over here to Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 12. Ezekiel 25 and verse 12 says, thus saith Yahweh power, because that Edom, all right, not because he got white skin, right? Because Edom did what? Dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them, right? So it wasn't because he had white skin, it's because of his actions that he done unto us, man. All right, all the atrocities, man. The 99 million of us that was either thrown overboard in the Middle Passages, man. All right, the 100+ million of the Native Americans that was slaughtered over here on this here land. All right, the damn near 100 million of us that actually went into captivity, that was bred over here and rods cut off and barbecued and picking niggas and barbecuing them and cutting our rods off and cutting our babies out of their stomachs. All right, the Trail of Tears. All right, and changing up our people's identity to where we wouldn't know who we are. Got us worshiping a so-called white man. All right, got us drugs and guns and all kind of shit in our neighborhoods. Got all our daughters twerking and clapping cheeks and all, and drinking lean and doing all kind of dumb shit, man. They got us destroyed out here, man. All right, it ain't because he got white skin. It's because of the actions that he did to us, man. What do you think our people out here suffering for, man? Even it's so bad that Esau is abhorred when he sees what's wrong with these niggas? Why can't these niggas pull their pants up? Why these niggas just want to goddamn drink lean and smoke weed all goddamn day? Why these niggas out here just dread their head up and just call? Because this is what you niggas did to us, man. All right? This is what's going on out here, man. You didn't put in so much work on us that you can't even stand what the fuck you done did to us, man. All right? Let me jump to Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, let me go to verse 1. Verse 1 through 3. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say to it, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, which is another name for, like how they say in the scripture, Mount Zion being another name for the children of Israel. Mount Seir is another name for the children of Edom, the Edomites. It says, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate, and I will lay thy cities waste. I'm here anyway. And I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. The point I was trying to grab was verse 5. It says, Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, like we was reading Genesis 27, verse 41 on down, 41 to 42. All right, because look, that was when the hatred started. From that time in the book of Genesis, all right, Isaac was on his deathbed to the same day. He's had the same perpetual hatred against us. All right, because I had a perpetual hatred and had shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, and the time of their iniquity had an end. All right, so he had this perpetual hatred against us, man. All right, let me read verse 10. Because thou hast said, These two nations, the northern and the southern kingdom, and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. All right, therefore as I live, saith Yahweh, you know what? Let me just read verse 10 again. Because I have said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. Right? So, matter of fact, it's right here. Ezekiel 36. Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, Ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy has said against you, Aha, even the ancient high places are in our possession. Therefore prophesy and say, I'm just trying to get to the point of what Esau wound up doing. All right, this is for time constraint. Verse 5. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea. Idumea is a Greek way of saying Edom. All right, still talking about these Edomites, which have appointed. What did the Edomites do? Is not because they just have white skin. Everything that we're reading about these Edomites, there was an action behind there, because you had this perpetual hatred, because you touched the apple of my eye, because you have appointed my land into your possessions, because you destroyed my people, because you did all these things, not because your skin was white. All right, it's because of your actions, man. All right. Verse 5. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their. Let me slow down. Which have appointed my land into their possessions with the joy of their heart, with the spiteful minds to cast it out as a prey. Now that happened in what, 1948? Well, starting in 1492. All right, they came over to the Americas. Who was dwelling over here first, man? All right, you know, you can read that in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. All right, where the northern kingdom was already living over here, man. All right, but Esau brought his little red ass over here. All right, and started slaughtering the northern kingdom. All right, from like 1492 all the way up to what, 1618, 1619. Then he started bringing the southern kingdom over here and enslaving us over here as well too, man. All right. Hebrews. So Jeremiah, was it 50 and 33? I think it is. Yep. I got another one real quick. Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. All right. And when so you got to think about it. You got to know Bible history, man. When you read throughout the scriptures, for the majority of the scriptures, the northern kingdom isn't present in the majority of the scriptures. All right. Because when you start reading into this, you'll find out that, before, when you start reading about Babylon and all that with Nebuchadnezzar and all that, the northern kingdom was already taken into captivity under Assyria. All right. And then when you read in 2nd Ezra 13, you'll read that after they got up out of that captivity in Assyria, they pretty much got on boats and came over here to the north, like to the Americas. Right. They was living over here from then. Right. And so this is why when you read like in the New Testament and everything like that, and pretty much throughout all the rest of the scriptures from there on out. You know, even in the book of Jeremiah, all the way up to the New Testament, they were mainly just the southern kingdom that was there. All right. So you have to ask yourself, when was, or really, what other time in all we was basically born in Egypt? You know, we went into 70 souls and came out as a great nation. We was oppressed together, all right, in one land. But this, this place also is called spiritually Sodom and Egypt, all right, because this was the second place where we was oppressed together. Because like I said, from like 1492 up to like 1618, 1619, the Northern Kingdom was catching hell and being enslaved over here. Then from like 1618, 1619, all the way up until what, 1850 something, all right. You know, well, we still in the captivity to this day. You had the Southern Kingdom in hardcore bondage, man. All right. And so, and then right now to the same day, man, you only really got like basically two and a half people over here, right? You got the Northern and the Southern Kingdom, which, like I said, the 2.5 people. You got Jacob and Esau over here, right? The Edomites, and then you got the Northern and the Southern Kingdom over here. The majority of the people that's over here. You know, you do got some Ammonites and some Moabites and some Ishmaelites, but the predominance of all the population is so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, one group of people, and the other group of people are the Edomites, all right? So it says, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. All right, so look, we still in the captivity under these people to the same day, man. They don't even want to give us a damn a holiday commemorating when they had transferred us from public or private to public ownership, man. They don't even want to give us that. So they still got us in captivity in the same day, man. All right. The other one I wanted to grab was in second, right, 12 or 13. So okay, let me find this precept real quick. Wait a minute. That was the precept worded. I can look it up. Oh, Salak, I can't even think of how it's even worded to even look it up. Hang on one second, Salakia. 11:5. Zechariah 11:5, it says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Right? So now they all being ashamed. Oh, that was another precept. The nakedness being exposed now. You know, is this the man? You know, they made the earth to tremble. All right. They now pointing it out like, yo, dog, you the one blew up the whole damn earth, man. You the one poisoned the whole thing. It's not because you white. We're not blaming you because you white. It's actually because you created a company called Monsanto and you didn't put out your GMO seeds all over the whole globe, man. All right, it's because you didn't took people and moved them around the globe and put new borders up and cut certain people off and did all these different things. You did all those things. It wasn't because you had white skin, right? It says whose possessors, all right? It's not because you got white skin, we just over here blame you because we were in captivity. No, you actually got us in your possession, all right? You get pulled over by the police and you got, 10 kilos of cocaine on you and you get arrested and the police, you know what I'm saying? You get charged with possession of cocaine, right? And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, it's because I'm black. No, nigga, it's because you in possession of 10 kilos of cocaine. We can see it. It's right there. Like, you got it. It's right there, bro. It's not because you black. It's because you got this cocaine on you. So, it's not because you got white skin. It's because we still in the captivity in your possession into the same day, man. And you refuse to let us go, man. All right? Zechariah 11:5, whose possessors slay them. All right? You know, the Derek Chauvin situation going on right now. You know, this is the first cop that's ever been convicted of these types of things, man. And you see how long it took, all the rioting and the protesting it took for them to like, yo, if we don't convict him, you know what I'm saying? Even if we give him a loophole on getting up out of this bad boy, if we don't, you got the other lady too who killed Jake eating ice cream on his couch because she went into the wrong damn apartment and shit like that. But see, they all got loopholes where they're like, oh yeah, we'll give them like, X amount of years, 20 years, 15 years, but then they're eligible for parole or they can appeal this and they only may do 1 or 2 years, or we'll get them out of jail regardless. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, those are the two cases I can think of. But really, they ain't holding themselves accountable. You have these Asians and got shot up in one Edomite went and killed up a bunch of these Asians at a little spa or something like that. They get, laws changed for them after all that situation going on. But we can't get no laws changed. We've been not dying. We've been being murdered over here since we got over here, man. But there ain't no laws against that, no hate crimes against that. All right, they can say whatever they want to say about us and put up nooses and the Klan can still operate, but that ain't considered a hate crime. But then you talk about these Asians or whatever, oh, it's a hate crime because, a couple of them got shot up or whatever. Well, we getting shot down every day by these damn oppressors, man. And ain't nobody saying nothing about that. If anything, they saying something about us. Why you niggas always complaining? Just be thankful we didn't murder everybody in your family. Just be thankful we just killed your husband and your baby daddy or some shit. We could have killed all them niggas over there, man. All right? But nevertheless, it says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Who's actually saying that, man? Oh, well, shit. Y'all own people sold y'all into slavery. And shit, man. Don't be blaming me because I was born white in this. No, we're not blaming you because you was born white. No, man. Your forefathers, you are your forefathers. And your forefathers actually took us into captivity, and they benefited of all these things and passed it on down into you, man. All right? I had another precept, but I'm going to just close out with this in Hebrews. Because they were saying they was Salakia. They were saying there was like no redemption or something like that for Esau in that little article we were reading. This is Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright, right? He sold his soul for some cheap gold, just like Jake nowadays, man. You ain't gonna have sympathy for these Jakes that's over here, a Lil Nas X or somebody like that, that's selling their soul to get all this rich and fame and all this and that, and then all of a sudden Esau chew him up and spit him out. Then you want to have some remorse for him, like, nah, you sold our people down the block. Nah, bro, nah, you got to pay for that, Verse 17, for you know how that afterwards, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. Rejected by who? Who was able to reject him and give him the blessing to begin with? It's the Most High, right? We ain't got the blessing to give him. It's the Most High is the one that's dishing out the blessings and the curses, right? It says, for you know how that afterwards, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So, hey, it ain't no redemption for him. He can't be saved. He can't be redeemed. He can't be forgiven for the things that he's done, because since the beginning of the story of the Bible all the way to the very end of the story in the Bible, because there's a law saying, look, man, if you're still a man or if you be found in your possession, hey, man, you got to die by blood, man. All right, and blood polluted the land, and the only way to cleanse that land is by the blood of the person who spilled the blood. So we still here in his possession today. They refuse to let us go to this same day. All right, so hey, you can't get up out of this now, man. All right, but nevertheless, I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that will. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.